UrTypical Podcast. UrTypical Podcast. Thank you for listening to UrTypical Podcast. I'm super excited. I think it's my favorite guest so far, which I can't say that too loud because people might get mad. But I'm joined by my really good friend, or like I call her, my wife, Katie. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Hubby / Donnie, for having
I know
me.
we've been married for quite some time, so I'm
We
glad that we
have
can come out publicly with our
for marriage.
But thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm excited. Well, one, I feel like we haven't seen each other in a while, so this feels
I
nice to
know.
like have a catch up time. But also, I'm excited to ask you questions and do all the things. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm ready.
All right. So how I like to start every single podcast is basically, how do we know each other? Like, what brought you on the podcast? So would you like to tell everyone how you and I met?
Yeah. So we met doing theater at Cardinal Stritch University. And then RIP, take a moment. We had a whole bunch of comm classes together too, I feel like, which was a lot of fun. But the theater is where we met and where most of our core memories and I think friendships are from.
Mm-hmm. I know, yeah, it was kind of interesting because we basically started from nothing, which I guess that's how all relationships start. Right. But like, I feel like we met and then it was like friends, boom.
I know, like, I was thinking before this, I was like, okay, like, what are some of my favorite, like, memories together? But, like, honestly, I just feel like we've been a part of each other's lives for so long. And it just, like, I can't even, like, pinpoint when we really became closer. Like, I know we met during, or your first show was Do Black Patent Leather Shoes Really Reflect Up? Because who could name a longer show than that? That was your first show, right?
Yeah, that was my first one.
Yeah. I was like, that was your first show. And like, I remember we weren't really friends, like at that point. I don't know when it's flipped or when it switched, but like, I think ever since then, like, you're one of those people that have been in my life that I'm just like, you've always
just been there. No, because yeah, that would like put us at what, 2015, 2014, where we met. And I think like maybe we weren't super close during Black Patent Leather Shoes, but then shortly after, like between that summer of that year and the next year, we became like super close. And I think that was everybody. I feel like I definitely like ingratiated myself in the theater group and on the drama. Like I'm like, so this is the lay of the land. I get it.
Mm-hmm. And
then I know we kind of did the same path in college, right? Similar, because were you a theater major as well?
Not originally. I started at Stritch, and I went to Stritch specifically for their education program.
Mm-hmm.
So I started as an elementary and sped major, and then I ended up taking that like freshman seminar class. Like I took Alan's like theater seminar class, and then I ended up getting a job in the scene shop after that. And then I was just working. I did just like the board op for my first 2 shows at Stritch, I think, because I was just getting into it. And then I added a theater major, and I was going to do a theater education and special education like combo. And then the like second day of my sophomore year, I switched my major completely and I dropped my education major. And I remember going home that like first weekend of school that semester and telling my parents, I'm like, yeah, so I'm not going to do teaching anymore. And here we are. Now we're
full circle.
Yeah, full circle. And I'm like, and you kind of had the same thing too, where you didn't start out.
Yeah, I was a pre-med major starting out, which was fine. I think it's funny to look back at Stritch because I don't think if I like was looking at theater, I probably would have never came to Stritch. No offense.
No. And like, I never had any intention in high school of going on and studying theater. Like, it was never something I had planned. I think it just kind of sucked me in at that point. And I was just at a weird point in my life too, that I just needed a change. And apparently the change was a theater major that I decided. Major. Here we are.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was for me too, where I knew as my pre-med major was like kicking off, like I think it was like maybe a half a year and maybe like 75% in. I'm like, this
Mhm.
is actually really difficult. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like effectively like hang on to this and like really study
Mhm.
hard. And I was like really working as hard as I can and it still wasn't working for me. So then
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I want to be so I think I actually switched to a comm major first.
Mhm.
And then I was like, and I was doing theater on the side. And
Mhm.
Mark really helped me, like, okay, Donnie, just do the theater major.
Do
So
it.
that's kind of when I did it. But I was like, it's always gonna be a double major because I didn't want to like, so scary to just do theater and
Yeah.
like have that be the only thing. I feel like I ended up in a good place based on like that experience.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you what your favorite memory of us was, but you're like, there's so many.
I think it's just, like, the funny dynamic that you and I have, and, like, I think when you and I are together, it was, well, when you proposed with the ring pop during whatever class, and then, I have this, like, photo of us, it was, like, a Nike, like, "Just Do It" filter when, we're,
Yeah,
like, cuddling each other, and then, I remember there was one time we were at you and I went out to breakfast or lunch or something, I think it was at Perkins, the one down the street by my apartment, and, this guy, like, thought we were married, and we were just like, "Yeah, we're," like we just laid into
yeah, a good method acting.
I think it just shows, like, how I don't know. It's just what I love about, like, our dynamic is I think we went from, like, seeing each other every single day for, like, how many for 4 years almost.
Yeah.
And, I mean, now we obviously don't live in the same city and we don't see each other as much, but, like, I mean, I know, like, you're one of the very few people I could call at, like, 2 AM and, like, I would, like, I know you would answer the phone for me and, like, I would answer the phone for you, like, in a heartbeat of, like,
What do you need?
what do
What's
you
going
need?
on?
Right, like, and
Uh-huh.
I would sit on the phone with you and, like, vice versa for, like, an hour and, like, just talk about whatever it was, and I think that's a lot of those, like, fun, silly things, I think just built the relationship that I think we have.
Mhm.
And, I think that's my favorite.
Yeah, I think you're like one of those people, especially when I lived in Milwaukee, that like I could be like, Katie, I'm hungry. Let's get food.
Red
And like you drop
Lobster.
everything. Red Lobster was a
Oh,
very frequent of ours.
it
But
was.
also like Perkins, and I think we went a lot
And
to Bar
mhm,
Louie. Like that was like a normal spot for us.
yeah.
And I don't know, I remember like pretty early on, especially in that time, I could just tell like you had my back. I mean, I guess I've never told you this, but I think like a lot of my growth during that time like came from just like your like mentorship, I would say. Like I feel like you're always there for me. Like, I would never forget. I think this is my favorite memory, which is funny because I'm a very tough cookie to crack. Like I'm not
Yeah.
really a crier. I'm not really
No,
very
I think I know what you're gonna
emotional.
say.
But like there was one day where I was just really feeling like down on myself. So I like was just like crying profusely. And like I remember you grabbing my face and being like, Donnie, it's okay. And it was just so hard for me to like I think at that time I was just struggling with like confidence, I think, because like I felt like I was working, especially like in our theater department where I'm like I mean, not to like toot my own horn, but I'm like, I feel like I'm one of the best like singers here at least. And
Uh-huh.
like, I really was working really hard. I remember like my very first show, you'd be like, Donnie, you talk too softly. Like, I need to hear you. You need to be
Yeah.
louder. And I like really worked hard to like make sure like I could be like, louder
Yeah.
and like be confident in like what I was doing. But like with our director at the time was it just wasn't registering for him, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
like I think the specific musical was Godspell, and I was like, I will love to get a big part in this show. I think last year I proved like I think 2 times in a row that I could do a main part in the show and really carry the show. That was for Cinderella and for Little Shop. And I was like played the stepmom in Cinderella and the plant for Little Shop. And I'm like, I feel like I made a huge impression on like the shows. Like I was very much integral to like how good the shows were. And then when it came to Godspell, I'm like, well, I should get one of the main parts in the show.
Mhm.
And then I didn't. And I remember like feeling like crushed. I'm like, how could I not get a part
Yeah.
in this show? It doesn't make sense. And I
Right.
just remember you kind of like instilling like, like it really didn't come down to you. So I hope you don't feel too bad. Nothing to do
Mhm.
with you. And I think that really gave me like even now when I do theater, which I don't do it as much
Mhm.
now, but it's like I remember that like, okay, most of the time it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's more so about other people's plans and how they want to use other people. Yeah, that
Totally.
just really helped me like kind of find like honestly like your like I don't give a fuck energy really rubbed off on me, but honestly it really helped me get through the next like 3 years after that because it was like,
Yeah.
you know what, like I don't care like what happens, like I'll do
Right.
the part. There were shows that I quit because I'm like, you know what, I'm worth more than this. Sorry, I'm not
Mhm.
playing a tree in the background, and that's it. And if Katie was here, she would be like, Donnie, don't do that shit.
You don't need this. You are better than being treated.
Yeah, I would never. I mean, why would someone cast you as a fucking tree? I was like, how dare you? But yeah, that was a good memory of mine of your like. And there was also again like I feel like you're one of the people who I like knew I could be vulnerable with because I think like once like I broke up with my boyfriend at the time and like I was really
Yeah.
sad and I called you and like you were like it's fine, let him leave, he doesn't
We
want to
didn't
be
need
there.
him
Yeah,
anyway.
and I did meet him. Where is he now? Who
Where
knows?
is now? Nowhere.
So that was like always like a good on a relationship to have. And I will say like moving to a new city, I think obviously you're gonna have to make some sacrifices of like
Yeah.
relationships and everything. But I also love about our relationship together is that like sometimes with my friends from high school, I feel like they kind of try to punish me for choosing to
Yeah.
move to Chicago. And it's like, and I've thought about it a lot. So, I mean, I guess it's the first time I'm saying it on the podcast, but like, you know, when people do stuff to like benefit themselves or like just what they need, I feel like with you has never been, I mean, like, again, like, when's the last time we saw each other? I don't even know.
In person? Yeah, I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Who knows? But like, our relationship hasn't change because of that. Because at the end of the day, like, I mean, I could be like, Katie, move to Chicago, move to Chicago, move to Chicago. But like, what you're doing right now is exactly what you want to do and like where you want to be. And same with me. And that doesn't mean like you're not as special to me or you're not as close to me
Right.
and vice versa. Like, I feel like our relationship is just as strong. Like I said, you can call me at any time. We even like have check-ins where it's like, damn, we haven't
Yeah.
talked in 2 months, but like, here are all the
Right.
things that you've missed and it's
Yeah.
like, I love that about our relationship. And
Mhm.
honestly, like, I think like model relationship of how adult relationships should be.
Right.
Like, you can see each other once a year, and that's okay. I think that honestly, after the pandemic, we might have not seen each other for like 2
I
years.
think so.
And the next time we got together, picked right back up where we left off, which I think I don't know. I hope you know how much I care about you. I love you and appreciate
You
our
too.
relationship. Our little group chat that we have with each other, me, you, and
You
Nevada,
too.
it's pinned on my phone. It's
It
the
is,
main
and
one that I
mine's in the
use.
middle.
I need to like be like okay, and I sometimes I miss the calls, which is annoying, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, that was a long rant telling you how much I appreciate your
And I love
friendship,
you
but I
too.
do. I was gonna ask, so I guess I don't actually know, which is a fun question to ask. How did you get a start into theater? Like, what was like? Because I'm assuming college wasn't the first time you did stuff because you're so like organized and professional as a stage
Yeah.
manager, and like you did some acting too. So, like, when did you get a start into theater in general?
Well, I guess that's funny because so I started in high school, but I went for like a crew sign up one day because a friend of mine at the time who I honestly haven't spoken with since high school, but she brought me to like the crew sign up. It was for the show our freshman year of high school. Yeah, it was our freshman year of high school. And I did it like I was just on like the backstage run crew or whatever. And I did that show our freshman year. I didn't do anything my sophomore year. And then my junior year, I was on like the stage crew again. And for our musical, I only ever did the musicals. And then my senior year, I somehow managed to be the tech director of our freshman and sophomore play. And then get it. And then at my senior year, then I stage managed. We did Little Shop my senior year at Hale. So it was like funny, like looking back of all the people who were in theater my high school year, like or in high school. Like I was probably the one person like you wouldn't have thought was gonna go on and do anything in theater like afterwards because I was just like doing it for fun. I only ever did 4 shows, like not a whole lot, like when you look at it, but I grew so much in those 4 shows from, like, one to the other. And yeah, like I said before, like, I had no intention of doing anything theater related once I got to college. Like, I was very focused on what I wanted to do, and then it just kind of, like, all fell into place. Like, I had been doing education-y things for so long at that point. Once I got to college, I just, like, really needed a break from that, and I needed to find something, like, I guess I felt like I had this need to find something that I was good at, that I enjoyed, that other people necessarily weren't, like, helping me do in a weird way, and I found that in theater. Like, I found this, like, path that I really kinda carved for myself of, like, I was on the run crew for 2 shows in high school, and then I was the stage manager for our musical my senior year. That I think just it showed how much theater kind of, like, helped shape me as a person and gave me, like, so much more confidence than I think freshman year me had versus, like, senior year me had, and I think I kind of had that same path at Stritch too. Like, I started as just, like, doing board op things, and then I just became a stage manager at some point, and because I was
The
the
stage manager.
stage manager, and it just I, like, had the respect for everything else behind it because, I did, like, the backstage stuff and I did the, like, board op thing, so I understood that, and it just, like, in this weird way was something that just, like, clicked in my brain of, like, this is something I'm good at, like, that I found on my own. It wasn't something that I felt like people were telling me, like, "Oh, you should do this, like, you should do that." Like, I had people were telling me not to get a theater major, like, they think you're crazy, right? And so I was like, "No, this is something that I have really found, and I've really found, like, my niche in, I think." And so, yeah, so it really, like, I owe it all to a girl I was friends with in elementary school, and, like, we kind of, like, we're still friends in high school, and she brought me along to the crew sign up, so thanks, girl, like, look at where we are, where we're at
You're like,
now,
look
and
at all the things you did for me. Wow.
right.
No, I feel that. I also would say, like, in college, I feel like you were basically like the stage manager who could do it all. Like, you wore so many
Yeah.
hats, and like you were definitely like, even when you graduated, truthfully, like, it wasn't the same. I think, what did you graduate 2017, 18, 17?
2017 was, like, my last full year, and then I finished my degree in 2018, but
I mean, basically the same. I was supposed to graduate in 2018, but I graduated in 2019. But that year that you weren't a part of anything was just so different. Like, and honestly, like, I would even go as far to say as like the program just didn't function the same without you.
yeah.
And obviously, like, without you, and then like me and Monty left, and then Laura left, and all these people were like, the program just kind of deteriorated after that,
Yeah.
which I think hopefully you realize like how integral you were to just kind of like keep everything running. And I think people knew that too. Like, once you left, it's like, oh shit, like, what are we gonna do? Katie's not here.
Right. Like, it was it's something I'm, like, very proud of because I didn't grow up learning it, like, I didn't do it a whole bunch, like, ever really before. It was just something that, like, honestly, it just makes sense in my brain, like, I just have this, like and I think it's for what I do now too, like, I just can look at something and I can see, like, every side of it of, like, okay, like, this scene change needs to happen, like, but also these 6 things need to happen at the same time, like, and I'm good at, like, putting the I think being a stage manager is, like, knowing, like, who you need to put in the right places, right? Like, I'd be like, "Okay, these 6 things need to happen. This is who I know I can trust to do that," like, and it's just I think it's just leading the show, like, yeah, it takes the good skills and stuff, but, like, I always owe everything to the team that you have with you, right? So, you're only as good as the people you have on your side. I've theater is something I'm so very thankful for, and it's something that I'm glad, like, I found in my weird path of life and work and school and everything. It's something, like, if you would have met me, like, my freshman year of high school, I was even, like, freshman year of college still, like, I was kind of unsure of, like as anybody is, like, their freshman year of high school or freshman year of college, like, unsure of where life was going or just, like, needing that confidence, like, to do something, and I guess it really just instilled that sense of confidence and determination, like, in who I am, and it's just kind of then followed through in everything else I do in life, so and just who I am as a person. I think I carry myself a lot differently too than I did before, and it's really just kind of been there for me through a lot, and it kind of is an outlet of emotions and things, right? Like, I worked on shows that I found impactful to me. Like, I've written a show about my life. I think it's just theater and the arts, I think, are so impactful, and I think, like, you and I both have found meaning, and I think that sense of like, I'm not gonna speak for you, but I think we both have found it to be there for us in, like, certain times of our lives where we really needed it, and it served as an outlet for both of us to express things that I think you and I both needed to express at those certain times in our lives.
No, I mean, like, to piggyback what you just said, like, theater literally helped me find my confidence, like,
Mhm.
period. Like, I think, like, I was such a well, in general, I already am soft-spoken. I feel like I'm a little quiet, just, like, at my natural tone. Funny that I have a podcast now where I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna
Right.
talk the whole time." But I think, like, I mean, I said this on the episode with Monty, but, like, it was just such a character builder for me of, like, again, the very first show I did, it's like, Donnie, talk louder, talk louder, talk louder.
Mhm.
Which, as a person who like would literally go to school in high school and just not say a word all day, the worst thing that you can do when you finally like gain the confidence to like speak up, someone just like automatically be like, "You're not loud enough. You're not doing it good enough."
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, and like, no offense to like anyone who said that, like that was really good feedback for me,
Mhm.
but it was like that is hard, like to overcome of like this is just my voice, this is who I
Yeah.
am. But like the full circle moment would be like, I think when we did Tartuffe, and I remember Trevor was like, Donnie, you're too loud. You
Turn
need
it
to
down.
like turn it down. I'm like, wow, I've come so far that like
Yeah.
now I'm the loudest person in the room. And I started as the quietest person in the room. And I think I take that into like what I do even today of like you said, like stage managing, like kind of like helps you see the big picture. And
Mhm.
like it's weird because my job kind of now is kind of like a stage manager in a sense, but also I think the big picture, I'm able to see it because I know the pieces. I've been the piece.
Mhm.
Like I've been the person on stage. So I know like what I need to help me, do better. Or I know exactly what, as an actor, I like this. So if I'm hiring an actor for this thing, I know exactly what they're gonna need because I've been that
Right.
actor.
Right.
And it's so funny how theater can be the thing that teaches you those skills. It's not like
Yeah.
something, it's not something that I plan to do. It's not something I did that I'm like, oh, this is going to teach me life skills. It's going to teach me how to communicate. It's going to teach me how to be confident in just like speaking or like my presence. It's like, and I think that's why I like the comm major with theater too.
Yeah.
It just like almost reinforced all the things I was learning in communications in theater. So like how to communicate non-verbally, something
Mhm.
so easy, something that people do, but on stage, how do you do that? Or like public speaking was something that I feel like I really learned a lot by mixing my, the theater training again. Like, I mean, we said it right before we started, like using up,
Yeah.
like all of that. Something I learned that you shouldn't
Right.
do. And like in theater, you don't do that, but it's like, okay, I'm at least cognizant of it. I'm thinking
Mhm.
about like, and they slip out, obviously. I'm
Yeah.
sure if you're listening, you're gonna hear a lot of ums. You might not, because I might edit them all out, but
Yeah.
there
Right.
were ums. Ums were mentioned. um,
We did
but
talk about it.
it's kind of crazy how like and I think a lot of theater people can relate to this immensely of like it just teaches you like skills to like live your life like confidently and just I don't know, it's kind of interesting where it's like theater, who knew the arts could like really prepare you for life. My next question to you was going to be which I'm curious to know, like, can you tell people what you're doing now and how like what was the shift of like from college studying theater and all of that
Mhm.
shifting into your career now?
Sure. So I think weirdly enough, even when I was actively pursuing my theater degree, I think I knew I wasn't going to actually do anything in theater full time afterwards, like in the artist sense, right? Like I didn't have any desire to like live the artist kind of like hustle. And I love that for everybody, but like I just knew it wasn't for me and what like I'm able to do. So I ended up taking a job after I graduated, in the office here at the rec department that I work at now. I worked there or in the office, graduated in 2018, for like 4 years. And I was just kind of like taking it of like, literally had no idea where I wanted to go after that. And it was kind of this weird time in my life of when I was growing up my entire life, like since I was 5 years old. Like I'm not kidding. I knew I was going to be like I wanted to be a teacher and I wanted to go to school to be a teacher. And then it shifted to be I wanted to be a special ed teacher. And then Stritch happened, and I kind of found that theater again where I was just like, nope, I want to kind of pursue that because I was in the mindset of I'm not going to have a chance to go back and learn theater again. Like this was going to be my time to learn the arts and learn the science, behind everything of like how it all works. So then I was sitting in the office just one day here at the rec center, and we moved buildings to where we are now, and our day program moved locations to be here at the rec center. And I just started interacting with them when I was working up in the office. And one day it just kind of like hit me of like, this is what I love. Like, I love working with people. I love working with individuals in the disability community specifically. And I just kind of found that again when they started coming here to our rec center. And I literally applied for grad school sitting at work one day. I went online and I filled out my grad school application. So I ended up getting even that I took like kind of a different path. I started out grad school originally going back to get my teaching license. And I wanted to go back to be a high school special ed teacher. And then a colleague of mine at the time who he oversaw our day program and our other adaptive rec programming. Him and I were joking, and he was like, "You should just take over the day program." And I was like, "Okay, like that."
Like,
And
cool.
you know me, like if I say I'm
Yeah.
going to do something, then I'm like, okay, now we're doing it. And I'm going to ask you like 20,000 follow-up questions of like, okay, but were you serious? Like, are we actually doing like, when are we starting now? And so I kind of switched my track in grad school to just kind of still graduate. I still was like, I'm going to finish grad school at this point. I was almost like a year in. I was like, I'm still going to finish. And I just ended up getting like my professional development, like master's. And then I got 2 grad certificates with it. So, and then even after I graduated, I was like, okay, like, I don't know how long I want to do this and anything like that. And I've been running the program now for the last 3 years. This will be going on my 4th year. And my position has evolved through that. Like now I still oversee our day program, but now I oversee all of our adaptive rec programming. So I oversee a summer camp right now for kiddos. I plan like community events and resource nights and just kind of help bridge the gap of providing more inclusive services also in our department. And so it's really kind of broadened my scope of like what I thought a teacher had to be. Like I thought teachers just had to be in a classroom of, K4 through, 12th grade students. I mean, I have participants in my day program now who are, 18 all the way up to 65. And we're teaching them every day of, we do math, we do science, we do life skills, we do everything. We do communication lessons. Our life skill this month is communication, and it's really kind of really given me a new sense of purpose and like a desire of like, how do you continue to provide services that are quality and meaningful for adults in the disability community specifically of once they age out of school, like they still deserve the best of the best. And, there's no reason that I mean, you and I had the, opportunity to like to go on to, a 4-year university and, then I on to grad school. Like you and I had the opportunity to go and get really quality experiences in classrooms taught by people. And I'm like, not that we're doing college level things here in my day program, but I bring that same like passion to it of like, we have fun and but we learn things and it's in a way that they know that they matter as human beings. And I always tell them like, out of all the lessons and all the things that we do, the one thing that I care about that they get out of all of this is that they know how to advocate for themselves and for their peers. And that's what I hope that they're able to take and implement. And that's what I get the most emotional about is when I see them advocating for themselves or they come back from work and they tell me how they advocated for themselves at work last night because I'm not with them at work, but they think about what I would tell them. And it's kind of like, I like to think I'm the same amount of a cheerleader for them as I am for all of my friends. Like, I think, like I'm the biggest hype gal, I think, for any of my friends. And I like just do that for them and know that they deserve to go to work. And if they aren't feeling safe or secure at work, that they should feel empowered to speak up for themselves, and knowing that we here were able to give them the skill set that allow them to go do that is really important for me. So
No, I love that. I was gonna say, like, I can tell, like, just from following you on like socials and
yeah,
everything, like, you're so passionate about your job, and like, I don't know, I just like appreciate when people can find where, because obviously, like, we live in a world where the money is usually like the main thing. And I think is one of the things that, like, and I love my job. And I think right now is like me trying to find, like, where am I passionate
yeah,
about the pockets in my job. And I think, like, the fact that you've been able to, like, again, start out as like one thing, like, I'm at the desk, I'm doing these things. I just remember even like you telling me about like your personal relationships with each individual person
yeah.
in your programs and like their families and
Mhm.
everything. I don't know. I just think that's like really cool, especially like nowadays where, people work at jobs that they don't care about or like mean nothing to them. And the fact that you can like find purpose and like something that's been always important to you, even if it's been deep down, and like kind of like find that again. Like, I think that's
Mhm.
awesome. I know, like, I had my friend Ben on my podcast last week. And
Mhm.
one thing that we talked about a lot is like just inclusion in theater,
Yeah.
specifically for people on the spectrum, whether it's like a disability or whether it's autism and all of that stuff. And I was curious to know, because I know you do some work with the Pink Umbrella. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Pink Umbrella Theater Company.
Pink Umbrella Theater Company. Like, how does that, like, I mean, just the conversation we had about like being autistic in theater.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? And like, what are some little tidbits you can give just to that conversation too,
Yeah.
if that makes
I
sense?
mean, so I've been working with Pink for a while in different aspects. It's kind of where I found my way to still be involved with theater because I see it's an impactful way that I can contribute something. So I work with Pink. I work on like a lot of our events. I've taught classes for them. I witness classes. I bring them into my day program and we do workshops here. And like I always tell families, or when I go out and I work all of the resource fairs that Pink has a table at. And I always preach to people when people are like, well, I don't know, like they're really shy. And I always tell them, and I think it's something you and I were discussing before, it's not about taking the acting class and getting up and learning the lines of the Shakespeare monologue or whatever monologue it is from whatever play, right? It's about being comfortable enough to stand up and speak in front of their peers or whatever the goal is, whether it's to turn around but still be in the room with other people and speaking the monologue to the wall for like who cares. That's what I always preach to people. I'm like, it's not about theater itself, it's about those life skills that come from it, whether it's being comfortable. I talk a lot about the creativity. It's we do I've seen them do like an improv kind of like warm up where this isn't a pen, it's a broomstick, and then you use it as a broomstick, right? And it's having the creativity to come up with something. And I think a lot of people in the disability community, or especially some autistic adults or individuals, like they kind of have that hard time with like, no, it's a pen, like what are you talking about? Like it is not a broomstick. So like that's hard for them, but it's so cool. And those are the moments where I'm like, that's it, like they're able to kind of break that barrier and be a little uncomfortable and can start doing new and different things. And it's not about learning improv, it's about learning to be comfortable with the uncomfortable and doing things that they're not used to. And what I love about Pink is that they always say there's a spot for everybody under the umbrella. And like, if there really is, and they are like the first of their kind up here in Milwaukee, not necessarily in the whole country. There are a couple other places doing some of the same work, but it's just really cool seeing it theater being made possible for anybody, and like I think you and I are both so passionate about theater, like, and I love theater and I love the arts and I love seeing it made accessible for everybody. I mean, I want everything to be accessible for everybody, but just seeing a safe space where, I mean, people, I'll be talking to parents, at resource fairs and like, well, I'm not sure my son doesn't like to sit down or my daughter doesn't do well in a large room. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, bring them on over. Like, and just seeing people being comfortable with their peers, like, hey, like I can be like, I mean, I'm weird. Like, I think we're all weird,
Yeah,
right?
we're
Like,
all a little bit.
we're all a little bit weird and it's okay. And it's like, we all get to be in this room together and we all get to be weird and we all get to do our thing. And That's what I love about that, and I think theater itself just creates the space for those things to happen in such a natural way where it's fun and it's part of life, and I just love seeing that for
Yeah, that's
everybody.
kind of what I gather. I gathered that from talking to my friend who I think one of the biggest things that I found super interesting, and I guess I never really considered it, that there is a part of acceptance that had to come from his end of like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna walk in a room, I'm gonna be a little different, and that's okay. And he was saying that like prior to that, like when he was trying to like fit in with everyone, that's
mhm,
where he used to like kind of
yeah,
struggle. But when he
mhm,
just kind of accepted, like, this is who I am, I have these, stems and I do these things that may look different to other people, but this is just who I am. I just found
yeah,
that like so I don't know, it's like again, like you said, like it's all about accessibility and like making things that are just like meant like again, like who cares if you get up and you're Audra McDonald at the Tony Awards doing this? Like even as small as I'm gonna do this for my 4 friends and family sitting in this room, that
mhm,
can be just as big an accomplishment as the next person. And it's just all about the perspective and what you're wanting to get out of it. And I think like I mean, again, theater is one of those things that I feel like no matter how big or how small, like you can find what you're looking for from it, which I find super powerful because
mhm,
there's not a lot of mediums, I guess, in the world that I could think of that like you get out of it what you want.
right,
You can get
mhm,
exactly what you want out of
totally,
it depending on what you need, which I love. And like I think theater has its own like toxicities and all of that. But at the very core, like
yeah,
especially when you take it for like an educational level or just from like a confidence builder level, it can be very useful. Like it's a very useful tool to like I remember when I was a preschool teacher and I guess it's like very similar, a little similar. But one of my kids, he had a disability, which I would hate when other teachers would be like, "What's wrong with him?" Like I'm like, nothing's wrong with him. He's fine. Yeah, yeah. What's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't. And I would be like, I don't like that you did that. Like
right,
nothing wrong with him. He's just like the other kids.
yeah,
And I remember one of the biggest confidence boosters for him is that he really loved to sing. And
yeah,
like I remember being like this kid, like he looks very different than everyone else. Like people are gonna treat him differently. So as a teacher, it's my job to at least like make it normal for him or embrace it because like as someone who like I mean at that school I was, the only black and gay teacher, both.
yeah,
So
right,
I'm like, there's not a lot of people who look like me, and I'm always having to embrace like my differences. So like, I want to teach my kids at least like at 4, 3 years old, like how can we embrace like the things that make you
mhm,
different, but also like knowing that that's not all who you are
right,
too. Like, who cares
totally,
that you have albinism? Like that doesn't.
right,
You're more than that. So this
right,
kid really liked to sing, and I'm like, okay, I really want to nurse this. I don't want to like shut him out. Like I don't want to be like, "Okay,
yeah,
can you shut up? Stop singing." So I remember being like, "Okay, if you can do this every day, like 'cause his parents will pick him up last. I'm like, every
mhm,
day I'll let you do your own little concert at the end of the day. Every single day, you can sing as much as you want to, but you need to do this thing." And it was like always like I remember being like, "Okay, I know you did your thing. You did your concert in our class. Maybe this class wants to hear a concert. Let's go ask them like if you want to sing for them." And like I remember even like looking at now, like his parents had. He's like 9 now, which makes me feel old.
that's crazy,
But like his parents like have him like in guitar classes and all those things, and like he
yeah,
just feels so like comfortable in himself and like stepping in front, despite how he looks. Again, like on
mhm,
the surface, like this kid is very different than all the other kids
yeah,
around him. But like being able to like just kind of like be like, no, you have this confidence inside of you despite what's on the outside, and like kind of trying to transfer that to like show everyone else, I have found so inspiring. So I
mhm,
appreciate the work that like the pink. I was gonna say Pink Umbrella Academy, but I'm mixing it up with the show
what?
Umbrella Academy, the Pink Umbrella Theater Company, and just like people like you and like my friend Ben and like finding because like my nephew, my sister's son, just recently got officially diagnosed with like autism, and like
Mhm,
I know she has a hard time like figuring out like how do I communicate with them and like and
right,
then there's like small little instances where she's like, no, I think he understood this. He's hearing me. And like, I think like, obviously it takes an amount of learning and like figuring out that issue. But also it's like, like sometimes things aren't going to be easy to figure out. And it's like, as the practitioner, as a
Right.
teacher, it's like me trying to like, how do I level set where like everything is even? How do I get
Yeah.
through to this person that might be a little different than how I have to get through that kid? And I think teachers, practitioners, parents, like
Mhm.
all just like need to realize that like not it's not a one size fit all.
Yeah.
Like the same thing is not going to be work for
Right.
every single person. Just
Totally.
like, I like it cold, you might like it hot. Neither way is like good or bad. Yeah, either way is fine, and just kind of finding that, because I don't know, that's just important to me. So I will echo saying like I love the work that you do in it. It makes me like proud, like a proud friend. Like you say, you like to cheer on your friends. Like seeing like I feel like you always post your accomplishments or like just like milestones and all of that. And
Yeah.
that's like just fun to read and like inspiring for other people to like look at and be like, wow, Katie's really like making a difference, like in
Right.
doing the work that she does.
Well, I think too, for me, it's just like sharing and educating of like in my small ways of like, hey, look at what the disability community did today. Like, right. And obviously, I work with a small portion of the disability community. I don't work with the whole group, but it's for me, it's just those small moments of like, hey, look at we've like taught a math lesson today, or we did this, or we raised money for this, or we communicated this. Like, I think it's just those small bits and pieces. Like, that's what eventually kind of starts to shift people's mindsets a little bit of when you just see those things time and time again.
And people aren't as scared of it. Like they feel a little more like, I mean, they're just people. Like we're all just
Yeah.
people. We're
Right.
all just people. We all are
Totally.
capable of many things. We're all incapable of some things, and like we all have to figure it out. So I love that. So I know like I wanted to leave some time. We've been talking so much too. I'm like
I
I
know.
just love talking. I love bringing people
And
on
I
the
love talking to
podcast.
you.
This is fun. But I know one of the things, like, at least, like, recently that happened, or I guess it's not that recently, but, like, something that, like, is new for you, at least from us, our college days, is that you're sober.
Yeah.
So I did want to ask about, also had a question, like a scenario for you too, but we'll get into
Mhm.
that a little later. But, like, how do you think being sober, like, has, like, changed your perspective on just life and, like, the things you do and your socialness and all those
Yeah.
things?
I mean, I have the capability now to sit here and say, like, everything I'm doing in my life now wouldn't be possible if I was still drinking the amount that I used to drink. I mean, and you were there for many of the occasions that I used to drink. I think you can attest to how much that it was. But everything I do in my life now, like, it wouldn't be possible if I was still drinking just in general. Like, and I mean, it didn't come overnight, this realization, but being 3.5 years into my sobriety, like, it has been like, I have these small moments every once in a while of just like, yeah, like this wouldn't be possible if I was still drinking. Cause I mean, it affects so much of just it affected so much of who I was as a person. Like, I think it kind of became my personality at one point. I was like, if something is going to be my personality, it should at least be like a good thing.
It's a
I
fair
mean,
a fair statement.
right, and I was like, it really did get to a point there that it was my personality, and it was not a good thing.
I know, like, I know you got sober after I moved here to Chicago. So I never really like experienced being around people who were sober until like actually
Mhm.
working at my current job now, where like drinking culture is such a like a high. Like everyone drinks, which is like weird as an adult to be around. Because it feels like, I mean, this sounds mean to say, it feels like a college thing of like we're all going to drink
Yeah,
every night. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right.
But like I have a really good work friend who was sober, and I like felt like I learned so much for him because um for instance, like I'll be like, well, I want to go bowling. There's gonna be alcohol. Should I invite him? Like, is he
Yeah,
gonna feel out of place? And like kind of considering him. So I guess like from your perspective, what do you think some like misconceptions that people make about sober people, and like how should they like, if it's like, oh, we're gonna go to a bar, I want to invite this person, but I don't know, like, this feels like I don't wanna put them in that
right.
environment, or, like, what do you
Yeah.
think?
I mean, and it's, like, weird, like, I never went to, like, like, I don't know anyone like, none of my other friends are sober, like, really, so it's like, weird for me because 'cause I'm like, I don't have anyone to, like, off my feelings with, who's also like going through the same thing, right? But I mean, what I kind of found, like for me, like I had to work through a lot of it myself first. I mean, I like turned down invites to like bars, like when I just wasn't ready yet to go and sit at a bar, like 2 or 3 months into my sobriety, I was like, I'm not there yet. Of like, I can't go sit at a bar and not have a drink because I'm like, who does that? That's crazy. But once I better understood my sobriety and I was further along in my journey of kind of like doing the mental work behind it, because it's not just stopping drinking, right? It's like doing that work behind it. I think anything mental health, right? Like it's also having those conversations of, I mean, I was seeing like a counselor at the substance abuse counselor at the time who was very helpful and like, and I had some good, like insightful, like conversations with. But once I got to that point, then I was like, I don't care about being invited. If it's a situation I don't feel comfortable with, or like, then I'll make the adult choice to not go or to like say, like, hey, I'll come, but I'm going to leave at 10 before the crazy drinking starts, right? Like, I
Mhm.
think it's putting the choice still in the person that you're inviting. Like, you don't have to feel afraid to like beat around the bush. Like, it's like, yeah, I live in Wisconsin. Like, there's going to be probably an alcohol like wherever we go, right? Like, and you live in Chicago, like I think it's kind of the same vibe. Like, it's I know it's going to be there. Like, I appreciate you thinking of me or like when you ask, but like I also don't want you to not ask because you think I'll be weird about it. Like, or it'll be
Yeah,
weird for me. Like, I'll make that choice, right? Like, what I for whatever I need to do for me. I just want
that
to give
makes sense.
choice either way, right? Like,
That makes sense. Like give the person the power to like be
yeah.
like, hey, I can come at. I know like what I've started to do, which again, I don't know if this is good or bad. I'll be like, oh, they have mocktails. Like I looked at the list, like
Yeah.
here are some, like this one sounds good. You should get this.
Mhm.
And like just kind of like because also like for me, like I want to support my friends and like their journeys, and I don't want to put them in environments where they will feel I would say even unsafe, like unsupported, unlike uneasy. And my friend who is sober, who I'm thinking of, like does a good job of like removing themselves when they feel like it's too much. But also again, like I want to make sure like, oh, they're in town for a week. Like, let me make time to hang out with them. Fuck,
Right.
like every time we all hang out, it's dinner and drinks. And
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
maybe that's not what they want to do. So then it's like, okay, can we go
Mhm.
bowling? Can we
Yeah.
go karts or something like that.
Mhm.
So the scenario that I wanted to like put across because it's kind of happened to me recently, and I know like you can relate at least a little bit. Where I did have a friend, and I won't say their name, but it was like such honestly, it was the hardest situation I think I've ever been in, like drinking because for
Mhm.
me, like I in college, I think in general, like I said, like drinking heavily is like such a college thing, or like at least that's what like I thought, like, oh, drinking. I never had a drink until college, and then it's like
Right.
drink, 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 and like people will joke, be like, Donnie, you're an alcoholic, ha ha ha. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I don't like that like reputation that people have of me.
Yeah.
So like I remember like trying to like change a little bit, but I never experienced this until literally it was like 2 months ago,
Mhm.
where I was at a bar with a friend, and we were all drinking, we're having a good time, and it was time to go, and I could tell my friend was like really, really drunk. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, you're fucked up right now. And I'm like, again, I'm like trying to be supportive because we're all drinking together, and I was pretty drunk too. And she like was so insistent, like, I'm gonna drive home now. And I'm like, no,
Mhm.
you should not
Yeah.
drive home.
Mhm.
Please don't drive home. And I like felt like literally concerned for her safety. I'm like, I don't know, you really don't seem sober enough to drive home. I'm not gonna lie. Like, and as a person who has a car in Chicago, like I'm in the position all the time where like I'm like, if I have this many drinks, I'm not driving home because
Right.
I feel like I'm not sober enough to drive home. And
Mhm.
I like legitimately like I got to the point where like she just would not. She's like, I'm driving home, period. And I'm like,
Yeah.
should I take her keys? Should I don't know what to do. I literally like I was like kind of being like, I don't exactly know what to do here because she like was very insistent. And at a point is like, what if I can't stop you from
Right.
leaving? And I offered her, I'm like, do you want to sleep on my couch? Like we're right by my house. You can literally like
Yeah.
sleep for an hour, 2 hours, like drink some
Right.
water, relax, and then drive home. Cause she also had a long drive home. It was like she lives in the burbs. And she wouldn't listen to me. And it was like so frustrating. So
Mhm.
I say this to say, like, as someone who maybe has had experiences like that where you were the opposite person, what advice would you give people to actually do to, like, because I don't know what the right choice.
Yeah, I mean, like, looking back, like, I mean, I think there were some moments when people voiced their concern, just in general, like how much I was drinking, whether I was driving or not, and I, like, never just took them seriously. Like, I didn't think they were being, like, that serious about it. I think, like, I mean, I know for me as a person, like, having someone just be super fucking for real with me, sorry, I swear.
You can swear. It's okay.
Okay, great. I swear all the time. But anyways, I think looking back, I think the pivotal moment in my life where I stopped drinking might have happened sooner if people would have been a little bit more straight up with me about it and not been like afraid to say something. And whether it would have meant like I was mad at them for a week or two or a month or whatever, like it would have been that, like in the same kind of situation for that. Like I think I like on the flip side of it now, like in the position I'm in, like I'm like, I'd rather someone be mad at me for a month that because I took their keys, like, and I literally fought them for their keys, or whatnot, and deal with that because I'd rather deal with those repercussions versus the repercussions of like what the
The
other
other
alternative
option.
could be, right?
And that's kind of how
So
I felt too. I was like, I feel like I wouldn't be able to like live with myself if like something happened to you and I let you drive when I knew that you weren't okay to drive. And I'm like, oh, that's so frustrating because it's such a hard position to put someone in. But also at the end of the day, like when you're an adult, it's like, I can take your keys, but if you're like fighting me to get them back, you're
there was a
okay.
fly. Oh my god.
I'll edit that part out.
Yeah, please edit that blooper out of me freaking out about a fly.
But yeah, that's good advice though. At least like, you rather someone be mad at you just for even if it's for
Yeah,
3 weeks versus like you're not being able to forgive yourself if something happened to them. Or even
right.
like more simple, they get arrested for driving drunk or something like that. Like who knows what could happen. And that was like such a hard situation. So thank you for your advice on that. I think like the last question, I know we didn't even get too much in the weeds with like trauma and like how to overcome all that. Like we talked so
Mhm.
much about
We
theater
did.
and teaching, which is also important. And we
Yeah,
can
all
maybe
the
you'll
time.
come on again. We can like get into the weeds on other stuff.
Yeah.
But I think like I know someone like you, and I've known your journey. I've been, I guess,
Mhm.
at this point we've known each other 10 years, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
I know,
We're
it's
so
crazy, it makes
old.
me feel old, but you've been a part of, like, the whole journey, so
Yeah, and I mean, even for you too, like you've seen me through so many phases of life,
yeah.
I mean, so many living partners. Like you've seen me through like it all. Like I literally when went to Stretch, like I was literally engaged to someone and then broke it off right before, and like my life has kind of like changed so differently from then. But how would you say like in general, like from the things you've gone through, the hardship, like being sober and like kind of trying to find a new path in life,
Yeah.
what did you learn? Like, how has it shaped you to today, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's so cliche. I hate being cliche, like, I hope this doesn't come off cliche because I hate that so much. Um
And
but, like, I did, like, I wrote a play about it, like, I wrote, like, a very short version of it, and then we did it at Stritch for, like, a Stritch Shorts, and then I did it a longer version, my gosh, 3, 4 years ago, Wonky Fringe,
was it that long ago? 4 years ago?
3 years ago? I think it was 3 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
time.
Time, man, time. But anyways, in the play, I think in the it's a short play, but, like, I think in the play, like, I do a good job of, like, really explaining or kind of, like, showing how through all those moments and through everything that I went through in my life, like, it was a lot, like, it was coming through a very unhealthy relationship where there was physical abuse and very bad physical abuse and very consistent ongoing, right? And then the drinking that was used, all of them were so interwoven with each other, right? And it's the path of finding your way out of that, like, and finding your way through it, and realizing that there was the way out, right? But I make it very much in the play, I make it all about, like, the play ends with the one character on stage who is very loosely based off of me, they end the play by saying, like, "This isn't his story, like, it's about me and how I talk about, like, the play's called Beautiful Ruins because it was kind of this weird, like, concept that I was like, had created in my mind of, like, yeah, like, there were a lot of ruins, right, around me metaphorically of, like, relationships that I ruined or kind of really destroyed, I felt like, at a time for the choices I was making in my life. And I was, distant from my family. I was distant from, I think, a lot of people that I had grown close with because I was didn't want people to see how much I was drinking or, what other things were going on. And I really just kind of like found the good. I mean, I don't like saying everything happens for a reason because that sounds so like awful. But like for me, like I'm not a religious person. I'm a very like spiritual, like I do think there's some sort of design, right? Of like this happened so you could be more empathetic for this. Like, I think it gave me a new perspective on life and working with people. And like, you never understand what somebody's going through. But yeah, I mean, writing the play, like bringing it all back to theater, right? Like writing the play, like was very therapeutic. And when I did it at Milwaukee Fringe, I didn't act in it. Our friend from Stritch did, and I remember just sitting in the booth because I was stage managing, just like and I cried, like, for the first time about everything in a very long time because, like, for me, that felt like such a apropos way of, like, closing this chapter of my life of, like, everything that was put to rest for, like, in a sense, when I stopped drinking, even more so, everything, like, really moved on, right? Like, that was my last kind of tie to everything that life was the drinking, and because even when I stopped drinking, I wasn't sure if I was gonna become sober or if I was just reevaluating everything, and my journey through sobriety really kind of led me back to this, like, this I really do feel like is a whole new life that I'm living, like, in a very weird, like, poetic, dramatic way. And yeah, like, I mean, the theater helped provide that outlet of that realization and, like, the storytelling and the writing and the grieving part of leaving all that behind, and then the sobriety part really kind of solidified just everything.
I love that. I feel like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like looking at you, it was good to kind of be like, okay, that
Yeah.
chapter is closed, but this chapter made me who I am
Yeah.
today. And I think like that's the thing with trauma that, at least for me, like even from my perspective and the things that I've gone through, like in a way, like kind of what you're saying, I'm almost thankful that I went or I've gone through the things that
Yeah.
like have been traumatic for me because it kind of shaped me into who I am. Like
Mhm.
I don't know if I would be as strong of a person if this or that didn't happen to me.
Right.
And like I love that you feel like, you're like a new version of yourself because I don't know, I love it. It's like you should be. Like we all should be growing and like
Right.
learning from our mistakes and like just like changing. I love the idea like we're all constantly changing. I don't know. I saw that show and I remember being like, wow, like firstly it was like kind of a outer body experience for me too, like being your friend and like kind
Yeah.
of witnessing things I knew, things I didn't know, and like kind
Yeah.
of learning more. But secondly, like I don't know, just like watching you being able to kind of like close a chapter of your life, like legitimately with that
Yeah.
play and like kind of be like, this is where this starts and now I'm here. Like I found
Mhm.
that like so like beautiful.
Yeah.
Congratulations on just kind of being a new Katie. We love to see
Here I
it.
am. We love to see it. Now I just drink 18 cups of coffee.
Now you only drink 18 cups of coffee, which is fine. Like who
Fine.
cares? Who
It's
does?
fine. Cheers.
Any final thoughts that you want to close out the podcast with? Any last minute things? Any last minute tidbits you want to say?
No, I mean, I just love talking with you. It just always goes by so fast.
It does. It's already been an hour and 5 minutes, which is
I know.
crazy.
I think like the only thing, I mean, theater advocacy, great. Like, I love that. And I just, anybody who's thinking about sobriety, like, I encourage you to give it a little try. Your friends, if you're listening to this, you're probably friends with Donnie or I. And if you're friends with Donnie, like, he'll connect you to me. And I think what I just wish I would have had was just somebody being like, hey, it's okay to be sober. And if I can be that for even one person, like, take this as your sign. Like, this is it.
I love that. Well, Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you for giving all your wisdom. I can't wait to have you and Nevada on at the same time. That's going to be so fun.
I know. I'm so
We can talk a little shit then. I feel like we
will. That will be
so professional and demure in this episode.
This is true. Yeah, that will definitely be the shit talking one because there's so many things we can.
I have a lot of shit to talk about. Oh my gosh. I have shit to talk today. Well, I can't even get into it. But thank you so much for coming, and thank you all for listening, and we'll see you the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
UrTypical Podcast. UrTypical Podcast.